At an elementary school, during career day presentations, it all starts in a classroom when the teacher asks, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Next to answer is Baeksun. Baeksun says her dream is to become a totally awesome adult. But all that sweet and innocent vibe vanishes when we see the same girl cussing out after losing in a game. In the middle of her rage, she spills her drink. So now she's gotta clean up, but she keeps on grumbling while doing it. Then she crashes on her futon, grabs her phone, and starts watching what looks like some horror story about a trash department. It cracks her up, though. I mean, just look at her room. Yup, this is Guy Baeksun, and she's straight up jobless. All she does all day is sleep. And when she wakes up, she plays video games, then watches stuff on YouTube. Her stomach starts growling, so she thinks about cooking something. She heads to the kitchen, and it's a total mess. She hasn't done the dishes. And you're probably thinking, well, she'll wash them, right? Nope. She buys instant noodles, doesn't even bother with a bowl, eats straight out of the pack. To her, this is peak life. After stuffing her face, she gets back to gaming. Looks like she's playing some knockoff Thai version of PUBG, but she's super focused. But suddenly, you hear clapping from the neighbor's room. Yup, clapping, just like you heard. And nope, it's not what you're thinking, since she's not wearing headphones. She hears everything, which gets her killed in-game. Baeksun throws a fit, chucks her food in anger, and now she's got to clean again. While she's cleaning, the clap-in starts again, and now she's over it. She hops up on the desk and starts making noise to mess with her neighbor. Next morning, a guy drops a box off by her door, but when he rings the bell, she doesn't come out. Every time someone brings her stuff, she acts like she's not home. When the guy leaves, she snags the box. Inside is food, courtesy of her mom. Fried squid, grilled beef, and seaweed salad. Anyone else know? Seaweed could be a salad. Since Baeksun's hella lazy, she stashes it all in the fridge for later. But it's packed, so now she has to clean it out. While she's cleaning, she finds a power bank. Why was it there? No clue. She pulled out so much stuff that now she's gotta wash the dishes to make space. But the sink stinks so bad, she can't handle it. She even pulls out some container with purple gunk that reeks. It was food from her mom she never ate. She'd rather have instant noodles. After a good while, she finally finishes washing, and since she's starving, she digs into the fried squid. She totally skips the seaweed salad though. Later in the afternoon, while folks are coming back from work, Baeksun's still asleep. When she gets up and stretches, she says she slept bad. Excuse me, it's 6:30 p.m. Context: she crashed at 4 a.m. after gaming all night. She slept 14 hours. Totally refreshing nap, right? Then suddenly she freaks and bolts out of bed. Turns out, there's a free spinning hat in her game. Yup, just that. After grabbing it, she wants to do some quests. She says she feels chill, since this game doesn't stress her out like other multiplayer games. Looks kinda like World of Warcraft, but probably some Korean version. In the game, an elf-looking dude walks up and says that's his farming spot. Baeksun couldn't care less. The elf dude tells her to bounce, but she one-shots him. Then a shiny mob shows up, which might drop mad gold that if she kills it and sells the loot, she could buy 2 whole chickens. Yeah, I feel bad for her financial situation too, honestly. But before she can strike, a lightning bolt zaps the mob. It's the elf, back with a buddy dressed like a chicken. They laugh at her for losing 50k gold. Baeksun loses it and wipes him out. But they're still laughing. They'll respawn, and she's already lost the gold. They say even with no cam on, they can see her defeated face. Didn't know Koreans flame this hard, TBH. Even dead in-game, they keep roasting. She lies, says she doesn't care about losing, and owns 2 apartments IRL. They obviously don't buy it, so Baeksun logs off. She tries to hype herself up like they're just kids, and keeps telling herself that till she lays down. But that mature moment don't last long. She jumps up, says she ain't letting them win. She logs back in, pastes something, no idea what, and DMs it to them. Then she says she won, not sure what she did exactly or why she's feeling so smug. But it didn't help, cause next day she gets a notice, 7-day suspension. Today, our girl ain't feeling so hot. She's broke and has a week till her welfare check. Wait, what? Didn't know Baeksun lived in the hood. Since she flamed those players yesterday, now she can't sell the gold she earned. Kinda like RuneScape, where you can sell gold. She thought about calling her mom, but last time she got chewed out hard that she's thinking of ditching junk food and just drinking coffee. Then she gets the idea to cancel YouTube Premium. Says she'll save like 10,000 yen. Cancels it and calls herself a genius. Sure, girl starts watching some videos. But now that she's got no premium, ads start popping off. Those level 10 versus level 100 games, and this one ad just gets weirder and weirder. Another time, while watching and doing dishes, she gets an ad where you gotta pick a wife. She ends up binging movie reviews, but the ads keep coming. Now it's the puzzle game. One where the dude always messes it up and makes you raged at the end. The ad spam gets so bad, she just buys premium again. Guess she's stuck with coffee now. The next day, the main girl is eating noodles while watching a video, but when it ends, cat videos start popping up, which she doesn't remember watching before. I end the video. The kitty makes a total mess. Baeksun ain't into it, since if she had a pet like that at home, she'd kick it out right away. Later, she throws on a hoodie and hits the street to grab some coffee, which is clearly not something she usually does. Then, she sees some stray cats messing with a black cat. These dudes always tear up trash bags and dip when someone yells at them. Since they're bothering the black kitty, Baeksun steps in and scares them off. The cat then slowly walks up and starts rubbing against Baeksun's leg, but when she tries to pet it, the cat just dips. One time she hit the store and didn't just cop chocolate, she also snagged some rice balls. The cat that left comes back, but this time it sticks around. When she touches it, the cat starts rolling all over the ground, making Baeksun imagine all kinds of stuff with the kitty. So she pulls a sausage out of the bag and offers half to the cat, but it sees it like a toy, which freaks Baeksun out and makes her spill her coffee. That freaks out the cat too, and this time it really bounces. Like always, she stayed up all night gaming on the PC. The sun's already out, and she's just now heading to bed, but as she's doing that, someone makes a noise and she snaps awake. According to her, people shouldn't be yelling at this hour, even if it's 9 a.m. So she decides to leave her cave. While heading to the neighbor's apartment, she's complaining that her floor has zero soundproofing and that folks got their door wide open. But when she's about to go in, she sees some dudes looking tough, like straight up thugs. This makes Baeksun super nervous, cause obviously, she's lost all her people skills, so she bolts while the dudes throw insults her way. Her cowardice hits a whole new level. She ends up leaving the building claiming she almost died, probably of embarrassment, cause it sure wasn't anything else. Because of this mess, she decides to take a walk to chill out, but like it's freaking Latin America or something, she takes like 2 steps and folks are already arguing. Yep, a blonde chick tells a dude not to leave food out for cats. This dude, or lady, actually claps back saying for these animals it's life or death, and it'd be super cruel to leave them like that. The blonde fires back, saying if they're so cute, she should just take him home and feed him, and for some weird reason, she calls out Baeksun and asks her to chime in. Like, what the hell, just cause she saw her leave the apartment. But the buff lady ain't backing down and thinks Baeksun's siding with the blonde. The blonde keeps ranting about how those cats are super loud. Right when Baeksun's about to speak up, the buff one yanks the blonde's hair and they're about to throw hands, until someone smashes a bottle. It's those 2 dudes from the apartment. Yeah, the ones Baeksun ran from earlier. These sketchy-looking guys tell the girls to shut it, cause they're not in the mood. We only see the 2 girls cause Baeksun dipped. She sprints down an alley like she's freaking Usain Bolt. The funniest part is she starts wondering if Korea is actually a first world country. All she wants is to live in a chill neighborhood, with no annoying neighbors, a killer view, and sunshine pouring in through the window. So she starts praying for free cash to drop every month. Baeksun's watching videos. Cat videos that she's doing it cause she can't do anything else. That let's not forget, she's banned and broke. That today's the day she's supposed to get some cash, but it still hasn't shown up. And to top it off, sounds like the folks in the next room are getting cozy again. So immature Baeksun climbs onto her desk and starts moaning. But then someone tries to open her apartment door. It's a woman who looks a lot like Baeksun, and she catches her on top of the desk making those weird noises. This woman's probably her mom, and she's ready to drop the hammer on her daughter. After the scolding, she tells her the place looks like a dump. Baeksun tries to play it off saying she does clean, like once every 1,000 years, and that her mom just happened to show up when it wasn't cleaning day. Her mom tells her if she keeps living like this, no guy's ever gonna look at her. She also notices the floor's sticky, so she tells her to clean it up now. Even though Baeksun's not down, her mom's not taking no for an answer. So she starts cleaning the whole place. Now it actually looks livable. With everything cleaned up, her mom asks if she's okay, since Baeksun lives alone and said she was working on something. Baeksun tells her to wait, cause soon she'll have news about it. Her mom's a little skeptical, but she hands her an envelope with money that it's kinda like paying rent. Basically, her parents are still footing the bill when her mom leaves. Baeksun gets super hyped and even starts sniffing the cash. Good lord. But the happiness doesn't last long, cause someone knocks on the door. It's the neighbor next door asking her to open up. The neighbor says they saw her shut the door, so they know she's in there. Baeksun's totally cornered, cause there's no way to escape this time. But then she remembers reading online how to handle floor neighbor drama. Oh, she opens the door and starts. The trick was to fake being crazy, but the neighbor, who turns out to be that same blonde chick, recognizes her as the girl with the dark circles, leaving Baeksun looking like a total clown. Embarrassed as hell, she shuts the door. The neighbor tries calling her, but Baeksun's so mortified she doesn't want to open it again. Eventually, she does, and the blonde scolds her, saying everyone knows the soundproofing in the building sucks. Baeksun says it wasn't her. The neighbor says don't lie, that she heard her and it literally sounded like clapping. Plus, she says Baeksun doesn't even have a boyfriend. Oh yeah, for anyone who didn't get it, if she says she's single and there's noise, it makes her sound like she's watching those kinds of videos. Something the neighbor totally picks up on, but just warns her to keep it down and leaves. As Baeksun heads back in, she remembers the noise actually came from the neighbor in the first place, but she didn't have the guts to say anything. Stressed out, she decides to get some sleep. She sleeps till the next morning, and we see her walking down the street. Yesterday, she worked, in big quotes, and it feels kinda good to have some cash in her wallet. While walking, she glances to the side and sees the neighbor crying. Baeksun doesn't want to get involved, so she tries to eavesdrop, but the blonde calls her out and tells her not to ignore. Oh, now she's stuck listening to her drama. The neighbor says some guy was complaining she wasn't affectionate. Blah blah blah. Baeksun can't believe this is the same chick that came to her place yesterday. The blonde introduces herself as Yojin and says she's 22, while Baeksun says she's 26. Baeksun tries to dip, saying she's got stuff to do, but Yojin grabs her by the waist and begs her not to go. They start struggling and Yojin accidentally yanks her shorts down, just as an old dude walks by, scaring Baeksun so bad she takes off running and leaves Yojin on the street. But that's not all, cause later we see Yojin also barfed all over her hoodie. Oh my god, gross. And yeah, she had to walk around like that. The next day, we see Baeksun has done laundry and is eating something. She feels so good she thinks she might finally write something. But that motivation lasts like 2 seconds, since she starts watching videos cause she's too full. We're told it's been like 2 years since she quit her job and decided to become a writer, but she still hasn't written a damn thing. Here we get a flashback of Baeksun at 22, super hyped cause she scored a job interview. Her dad drops her off and gives her some real advice. Society's like a battlefield. You gotta face it with strong resolve. Like a soldier. Inside, Baeksun's kinda nervous, especially since the interviewer hasn't shown up. It's noon on a workday, but there's still no one around. Then someone opens the door. It's a guy who apologizes for being late, saying he was out of town. This guy's the rep from Jeju and Company. But to Baeksun, he looked sus, cause she was expecting someone more professional. The guy tells her that finishing school is the bare minimum to get into the company. But she's got no experience, and they don't usually hire folks that young. Baeksun already knows where this is going, but she really wants the job. Oh, she shyly tells him she won't give up and that she's not running away. The guy kind of freezes, probably cause it gave him secondhand cringe. Baeksun went back home, and it's been 2 weeks and still no call. Her dad's outside her room saying life's like that, and her grandpa used to hit up 20 places to up his chances of landing a job. But then Baeksun's phone rings, and she walks out telling her dad they finally called. After this, we see Baeksun getting her new apartment. Somehow it feels weird being alone, and since she's going to work, she has to set the alarm. But, like always, she wakes up late. Anyway, she grabs a cab and makes it on time. When she's about to turn the office knob, she notices it's busted until someone from inside opens the door. This dude's name is Kong Ju Kyung, who recognizes her as the new hire when he sits down to show her the ropes. Baeksun spots something. The guy's got a bald patch on top. She pretends she didn't see it and introduces herself. Ken tells her the company looks kinda empty cause it's still pretty new. So he shows her her workspace, but the place is straight up filthy. Actually, they forgot to clean it, and it used to belong to the last employee. Ken says the CEO isn't usually around, so he rarely shows up, though today he'll swing by soon. So he tells her to take it easy. He starts explaining how the job works. And then, someone else rolls into the office. It's the team leader, the dude you're seeing on screen. Though he looks kinda salty and notices Ken's in a super good mood, Baeksun introduces herself to the team leader and tells him it's her first day on the job. Suddenly, this guy starts tripping and imagines a whole future with Baeksun, with kids that got his face. It was kinda like Selma and Molman's fantasy, but he decides to play it cool and gets to work. Then Kong asks Baeksun to tag along with him for a bit. While outside, he tells her that even if it's kinda early for a newbie, he wants her to quit the company. The reason he says that is cause the company's a trash place to work. Actually, he's dead sure she saw the top of his head. And it's like that, cause he works so much his hair's falling out. Baeksun asks Ju Kyung then, "Why are you still here?" He says it's cause he signed a 2-year contract. And also, he doesn't know anyone who lasted more than 3 months on the job. Baeksun, this is nuts, cause she just got in. Our girl Baeksun kinda freaks out, thinking they're testing her loyalty. She figures she ain't dumb and says fine. She was born to work at that company. More than repping the company, it's like she tattooed the logo on herself or something. 3 months have passed since that moment, and they keep dumping weirder stuff on her. She joined as a layout designer, and now she's just looking at docs full of text. Baeksun thinks about asking Ju Kyung about a task, but he looks hella busy. Then her boss notices her stress and asks what's wrong, catching her off guard. Offended, the boss asks if he's some kind of monster or something. The boss asks to take a look, and she explains her issue with the terms in a document. The dude shook seeing the workload and says it's way too much for her alone, but it'll all help her out later. A total jackass. The worst part is the fat dude keeps calling her after hours for dumb stuff. Right then, Ju Kyung pulls up asking for help with 2 documents. Baeksun, even though she says she's swamped, says she can do it in a bit. The guy tells her that job was supposed to be his, and it's tough. So he thanks her, cause she's saving him a bunch of effort. That kinda embarrasses Baeksun, but for some reason, it pisses off the team leader. Then the company owner shows up, asking if they're free to grab food. Tomorrow, cut to the restaurant, they're toasting, and the fat dude's sweating bullets cause he wants to confess his feelings. In his head, he thinks she's not like the other girls who only care about looks. I don't know how he'd know that since they barely talked. But whatever. Though when he sees Baeksun chatting with Ju Kyung, the guy gets real jealous. The boss asks Baeksun if she drinks a lot with her friends. She answers all innocent that she doesn't have friends. The team leader says don't lie, she's probably been out with 100 dudes. Like, what the hell? The dude thought Baeksun was an Instagram model. He says since she's hanging with Ju Kyung, that must be her type, claiming she's young and into hot guys. Ju Kyung then turns to the team leader and says every time they go eat with a new coworker, the dude drags him into it and makes it awkward. The fat dude tells him to butt out and worry about his grandma instead, hitting a nerve with Ju Kyung. Next day, Ju Kyung's chatting with Baeksun saying he'll have to dip from the company soon, so I'm guessing the team leader clocked him or something. Ju Kyung asks if she's staying. Baeksun says that even if the team leader's a pain, at least she's making her own cash now. And just the other day, she was able to treat her parents to a meal, so she tells him not to stress too much and keep going. Poor Baeksun, still holding on to hope. 9 months later, she's pulling 15-hour shifts, and the boss dumps even more work on her, saying Ju Kyung used to do it all solo, and since he left, they've had to do overtime every month. Actually, it's already 3 a.m. And when she heads out, she grabs a cab home. The driver tries to make small talk, but when he checks the mirror, her Baeksun's knocked out from all the work. Baeksun's chilling on her futon saying she doesn't want to go to work, and as she checks her phone, she notices that fat dude's waiting outside. How the heck did he even know where she lives? When she goes out, she runs into the team leader, and he asks if she hates him so much she had to lie. If she tells him the truth, he won't bother her anymore. That's why he asks her to be real with him. She gets nervous, but manages to apologize. The team leader acts cool and says he gets it, but once he gets in his car, he says that when he sees her stupid face, he's gonna wreck it. After that mess, the workplace harassment kicks off. First, when she needs something, the dude pretends he's too busy. Then, while Baeksun's working, the fat dude shuts the lights off in the room. She talks to the boss, who says he'll have a word with the guy. That's why she's burnt out. lying on her futon wondering how to get out of this mess. That's when she spots a manga contest on her phone, actually a web novel contest, and she remembers she used to write when she was a kid. Next day, she hands in an envelope to her boss. She says she's been feeling pretty rough lately, so she's taking a break. Once she's out the office, the team leader corners her and throws a bunch of questions, but she says her cat got hurt and she's stepping out for a while. Obviously, she's lying. We know she ain't got a cat. When she gets home, she gets a package that was meant for writing, but now she's using it as a pot stand for noodles. After some time, she realizes she's put on a few pounds. But I don't know what she expected. She doesn't do anything and always eats junk, so she decides to work out a bit, planning to go for a run, but taps out in 5 seconds. She says pushing too hard on day 1 lowers your shot at success. While walking, she sees some girls, let's just say they're girls, coming her way. In her 26 years of experience, those brats look like they want to ask something, so she tries walking all gangster so they won't bother her. But the move flops, cause they still ask for a few minutes to ask questions and blah blah blah. Then someone starts running toward her. One of the girls freaks out and bolts, saying she's a thug. That was Yojin, who was chasing the girls for some weird reason, though she stops to catch her breath. Yojin recognizes Baeksun as her next-door neighbor, but our girl ain't thrilled to see her, since last time the blonde puked on her, something the neighbor seems to not remember. That is, until she sees the jacket and freezes when it clicks. Like some kind of poetic deja vu, she throws herself on Baeksun again, but this time to apologize, saying she was super drunk. Baeksun calls her out, saying thanks to her, she had to walk around all night covered in puke. So Yojin offers to buy her chicken, and since it's free, Baeksun's down. While walking, Yojin asks what she's doing here, since she just got off work. Baeksun says she was gonna work out, but then she showed up and ruined it. She says that cause she's got a little belly fat, which confuses Yojin, since she thinks she looks skinny. But the blonde, full of energy as always, makes her run and warns her that if she doesn't come in second, she won't get any chicken. When they get back to the condo, Baeksun's dead tired, cause obviously, the other girl's in better shape. But even though she lost, Yojin still buys her the chicken. Would have been wild if she puked on her and didn't even get her food. Right before ordering, she asks if they can eat at her place. But since everyone knows Baeksun's a bit messy, they decide to eat at Yojin's. After showering, Baeksun's standing in front of her neighbor's apartment. She knocks, and the blonde answers. When she gets in, Yojin says she thought she wouldn't knock, and like it's the freaking Berlin Wall. Yojin's room is spotless, unlike our girl who lives in a total mess. When she tastes the fried chicken, she says it's super good and asks where she got it. She says a place called Los Palos Hermanos. Well, actually it was double chicken, which surprises her, cause Baeksun once gave that spot a bad review. When they finish eating, the blonde goes out to say sorry again for the other day and asks him to please call her for when he wants to work out again. Already in bed, Baeksun says she had a crazy day, mostly because it was the first time she talked to someone for so long, and that at first she thought Yojin was nuts, but that actually she's a cool girl. That's until the next day she knocks on her door to work out. Even though it was supposed to be Baeksun who decided that. Somewhere else we see the black cat eating something, but the other cats that always mess with him come close and snatch the food. Later, the same cat is walking, but gets distracted by a bird in a tree. I guess he wants to catch it, but the bird flies off as soon as it sees him getting close. What the kitty didn't expect is Baeksun getting close to snap a pic of him, but he moves too much and she can't pull it off. That's why the main girl picks him up and hugs him. But right then Yojin shows up, who yanks her to go work out. The cat knocks out till the afternoon, I guess, and starts dreaming about an owner. But a car driving by wakes him up, and wakes him up hard, cause the cat starts chasing the truck. But the driver steps on it and leaves the kitty behind. I think that was the trucker who gave him food at the start, and the cat came close thinking maybe that was his owner, but sadly that wasn't it. Suddenly we jump to a panel where it's raining in Korea, in a room where Baeksun is holding a knife with something red, which is cause she just cut tomatoes. This is cause she's following a recipe to make stew, I guess. Since she spends most of her time alone in her apartment, sometimes she feels like cooking. That's why she went to a store to buy some ingredients, but they don't sell them one by one, so she has to buy whole packs, and that ends up costing her 40,000. That's why she's here trying to cook. Even though in the end it looks like there's less water than there. Oh, she pours in one more cup, but now it looks worse than before. The girl gets possessed by the spirit of Master Chef and tosses more stuff into the pot, but it turns into a black blob. And when she tries it, oh, she pulls out some dino-shaped nuggets so she can eat those instead, since she didn't like her own stew. The classic move of doom scrolling through other people's wins to feel worse. Then she sees an ad for a mop with a spinning head, and since her room is always a mess, she ends up buying it. Let me tell y'all something. I had one of those mops, and trust me, not worth it. A regular mop's way better. The girl reads the instructions to use it, and even though at first it looks like she's gonna wreck everything, it ends up working. So she decides to clean. Why, at this point I thought I was watching a mop commercial, but when the girl spills some Coke on the floor, she wipes it with a napkin and tosses it in the trash. The mop just sits there, taking up space in the shower. And now she's thinking about tossing it in the trash. 2. Today Bakeson's got a headache, and that's cause once a year there's some kind of contest, I guess like writing or something, but Bakeson's got a giant creative block and has only written a few lines. She blames her laziness, since every time she wasn't inspired she'd end up watching YouTube videos or gaming. Actually, she starts doubting herself, cause she'd rather take a few courses first, but decides not to give in and instead go out for some fresh air. Fresh air at night. Yup. She tells us that after quitting her job, the girl used to write a lot and had a good rhythm, but thinking she had to get picked somehow would stress her out and block her writing. At first she got nice feedback, but nowadays no one comments anything. Right at that moment she gets a notification for a comment, but it just says she's not funny. When Bakeson thinks about replying, she decides to chill and focus on writing instead, even though she's a bit stressed. Little by little she starts relaxing with the song she's listening to, wishing she'd make it someday. In her mind she starts imagining someone posted a review of her book that blew up on YouTube. Some guys talk about the story she posted, and right then Bakeson shows up all mysterious with shades on, saying she's the author. She starts daydreaming that everyone wants her autograph, that she can buy whatever she wants, and that she's got a huge house. I think those noodles she's eating are from North Korea, cause she starts tripping hard in the street at night. But either way, she's feeling way better and heads back thinking that even if she fails, this will help her change something. And actually, it does. She stays up super late, like always, but at least she enjoyed a healthy hobby. Next day she's, as always, on her computer and now says she's gotta go work out. She gets up, and when we think she's gonna do some crunches, she flops onto the couch and starts watching YouTube vids, pretending her phone is a dumbbell. But the plan backfires cause it smacks her in the face. Right at that moment the neighbor shows up. Remember her? Yojin knocks on the door to invite her to work out. When Yojin gets close to check if she's gone, Bakeson sees her face and screams, so now she's gotta go out, somehow. She doesn't like working out, but she digs the feeling after cause it makes her feel better. She wonders what job Yojin has, since she always sees her at home and figures she might have a part-time gig or something. Maybe she's unemployed like her. But right then Yojin screams. She explains that the part-timer bailed and she has to cover, revealing she's the manager of a PC cafe. When Bakeson asks if she likes games, Yojin dodges the question. Per Bakeson, she seemed like she wanted to play with her, but it didn't work out, though another chance pops up for the girl. Yojin invites her to her job, which is actually close by. Bakeson walks in and gets surprised by how cute the place looks, even though the spot is empty. This reminds me of when I used to go to PC cafes, but this is Korea and the setups here are beefier. Yojin helps a guy who asks for 3 hours on a PC, but she tells him to use the self-service machine. The guy says he doesn't know how and dips. Yojin tells him to learn if he doesn't know. If y'all noticed, they've got totally different vibes. Yojin's got more street smarts than Bakeson. Suddenly, something goes down with the blonde. She says it's an emergency, so she runs out the place, leaving Bakeson alone, who figures no one's gonna show up, right? But turns out a crowd of kids shows up right outside wanting to play LOL. I guess, getting closer and closer to what would be Bakeson's nightmare. Working.